For more on the president of the speakers meeting later today, we want to bring in Congressman French Hill. He is the vice chairman of the Financial Services Committee and a pretty serious guy. And Congressman, thank you for being here today.
You bet, Becky. Good to be with you.
I have not been thrilled with having politicians on to discuss this because you wind up with just talking points from one side or the other.
Yeah.
You're a pretty serious guy, and I think you can probably help us kind of see through what's happening on some of these levels. Kayla pointed out correctly a couple of the things that are happening. Republicans have passed a bill. When we had McCarthy on last week here, I asked him point blank, do you think that this is going to be something that happens default? He said no. But we've since heard, and by the way, that day the markets really responded to that, thought that was taken off the table. I think since then we kind of hear that that's not necessarily what he meant. He meant that they've done their part. Let's see what the Democrats do on this. Where do you think things really wind up? If you're talking hundreds of billions, if not $1 trillion apart, is revenue going to be the sticking line? Because that sounds like the one side is saying, yeah, absolutely, we want more revenue. The other side is saying, no way. That's off the table. Yeah,
well, it's good to be with you. I think there's mixed signals on this. On February 1st, when Kevin McCarthy first went to meet with the president in the Oval Office to try to set the standards for a sensible increase in the debt ceiling, he told the president there are only two red lines. I'm not going to raise taxes, and I'm not going to have a clean debt ceiling bill across the House floor. Other than that, let's talk. And for 100 days, we weren't able to do that. So now we're talking, but we've wasted 3 days over this weekend while we get this mixed message. Because just on the airplane flight home from Hiroshima, the president, again, said to the speaker that revenues were not on the table. And yet Saturday morning, revenues from his staff were on the table. So we need to stop posturing and have a little less name-calling and get to deal-making.
Let's talk about what revenues would look like. Does that mean extending the tax cuts from before? What are we talking about?
No, I mean, look at the House proposal. The House proposal did not have significant revenue impacts other than repealing some of the aspects of the Inflation Reduction Act. We didn't propose really any other revenue changes. We didn't propose extending the Trump tax cuts, which I've heard in Democratic talking points, for example. We're trying to raise the debt ceiling. And we did that, we thought, in a responsible way. $1.5 trillion debt ceiling increase, whole spending flat, have a projected spending growth of only 1% for a decade, take some easy money off the table up front, like let's not spend $600 billion on student loan debt, et cetera, and then do some regulatory reform that gets people back to work, gets the economy growing from the supply side.
So Biden has talked in the past about not wanting to roll back any of his legislative victories. Is that what really the sticking point is?
Maybe it is, but I don't know that to be a fact because I don't think they've really put a serious proposal on the table yet. They actually came to those meetings in the Friday and Saturday time frame talking about raising taxes and spending more money. Well, that's not even the parameters of the deal that the president and Speaker McCarthy have talked about, since that February 1st meeting.
What do you think really happens in terms of the deadline? Because McCarthy has also said that he needs 11 days to get something passed once a deal is reached. We're within that time frame from where the Treasury Secretary has said we're going to run out of money to pay our bills.
Well, she's reiterated that. I'm sure we'll hear from Secretary Yellen today reiterating that point. The Speaker has moved. This is not a talking point. It's why we raised the debt ceiling. We thought we did it in a responsible way to give us some negotiating room. And my frustration is we've just burned 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, of not having good, constructive, productive talks that we should have, because the Speaker's right. We need a 72-hour rule for the bill to rest once it's been reported to the House. And so we need this week to do this in the right way and take into account the Senate action as well.
Why walk out of the meetings? I mean, if time is of the essence, why walk out of the meetings over the weekend?
Because they just literally could not go back to the starting point. And remember, Becky, the key thing politically is here, Chuck Schumer is not engaged here because he didn't have the votes for even a clean debt ceiling in the Senate. This is something I think gets dropped off the chart in this debate. If he had had that, then he could have moved earlier in the spring, or Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden in December, when they controlled all of government, could have extended the debt ceiling, and they didn't. And this is why I'm frustrated, too, because, look, interest as a percentage of the budget is creeping up to a very high level. It's about 13%. Traditionally at 14%, that's where you don't want to see interest on the federal debt in any economy. And because of high interest rates and unprecedented spending since the pandemic, we are back at the level of government we were after World War II, after World War I. And we want to move back to a pre-pandemic set of spending priorities and fight about how to balance the budget, not how to have a $1.5 trillion deficits every year for 10 years.
So when the president says that he is willing to roll back spending to levels from last year, that's not enough.
Well, it's a good start. Look, and when we talk about last year, I mean, I've heard all these comments about cuts. This was 5 months ago. We're talking about the spending levels in December is where we want to start the baseline and then grow at 1% for there. And overwhelmingly, the American people are for regulatory reforms and capping the growth in spending. We believe we're on the side of the kitchen table American here because spending has certainly contributed to the inflation pressures that we've had over the past 2 years.
Why does this debate happen here and not in the regular budgetary process?
Yeah. Steve, such a good point. And it's why really we started out at the beginning of the year, let's raise the debt ceiling. Let's use that agreement to then let Congress debate the appropriations bills under that ceiling amount and decide who gets what, defense versus non-defense. And that's how they're connected at that top line. They don't have to be connected below that, right? We can just agree to a term and an amount of money to raise the debt ceiling and then let Congress, the House and Senate, do their work in the appropriations process. And that's a way to make it a little bit more orderly than trying to jumble it all into one.